Hey guys, can someone help me out? I didn't catch the codes for session 1 and 3. Can you send them to me? Private message me?
Well, I can just tell you they're AFCPE Cares 1 and why not 3?
Okay, thanks.
Andy, this is Sandra. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yeah, Sanja.
Yes, I missed the one with Lee, the one before this, and I missed the code.
Well, let me just tell you, you guys are so much fun. I am going to share with you. That's our first scenario. We just witnessed our first scenario. I want to hear from you. Do you think it crosses one of our boundaries for standards of practice or ethical codes? Anybody? Should you give a code to somebody that you weren't sure was there?
Well, if you're not sure they were there, no, you shouldn't.
Right, right. So that is one of the things that we talk about. All right. So if you could take a moment to look at the ethics and the standards of practice, see if you can find which of the codes or standards of practice that might be related to. I'm going to give you a second to look. I'm going to pop open the screen too. We'll just see what we can find. All right. So when we look here, I have them numbered. But what ethics code do you think might be related? I have one ethics and I have one standard that I marked as something related. Ooh, somebody put SP18. Let's go take a look at that. Takes a second to switch over. All right. 18. Scroll down. Continuing education. Counselors must engage in continuing education to maintain their professional competence. So if they didn't actually attend or they missed part of it, then it might not be ethical to share that. Credentials claimed. Okay. And let's look what else. 49. Let's see what that is. It's a long ways down to go to 49. There's 51. So you should have those links in your reminder also. Yeah, and those are related to resolving ethical issues mostly. All right, so let's go back to ethics. Grow in professional practices, keeping up to date, right? All of that good stuff. So that was scenario 1. I do have a question for you. When it comes to this scenario, why or why not do you think it would cross the line? Anybody think it doesn't cross the line?
This is Cleve. I think based on what someone previously said, they didn't know whether or not the person had attended the first session. Then the second one was kind of whatever because they specifically said a name of an event that they attended. And so probably gave the second person the benefit of the doubt, or at any rate asked for additional clarification.
Yeah, definitely. So we usually send people to the person who's in charge of the class to see if there's some kind of proof that they showed up. I've actually shared with the people in my classes that I had somebody who said, hey, I didn't get this, and this, and it was a total of 12 credits or something like that. And I went back and looked at the records and I could only find a few of them that they had done, but not the whole amount. So can you imagine if I just given the codes, they wouldn't need, that's a lot they wouldn't need to get. But I had records that showed that they didn't attend and that they had signed up but didn't attend. So it's really important to keep good records if you're running a program and running continuing ed. And with ethical classes, especially, there is a time like we can't allow people, like if you lose reception, a lot of times they won't let you back in unless they know absolutely you were in there. So it's something to be aware of. They have the room is closed after a certain amount of time because you have to attend at least 50 minutes for it to count as an hour. And so for half an hour, that would be 25 minutes. So anybody who tries to come in after a certain period of time wouldn't be able to do that. So who is my scenario number 2?
Me.
Me. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
All right. I think you've really done a great job learning your options for retirement investments. I'm glad you asked about them.
I really appreciate you teaching me about ways to invest for my future. I love all the options available, and I think I'm going to invest in a Roth IRA and work to max it out this year. I wondered what fund I should pick.
Oh, I have really great luck with Fidelity FX AIX Index Fund. You can definitely make a lot of money with that fund. So what are your thoughts on this response, folks? How should the counselor respond? Okay, Kathy.
Absolutely should not be given any recommendations. We are not here to endorse, but what we should be telling the client is make sure you do your research so that you understand how the fund works, the ups and downs, the pros and cons. And if they ask us, well, what do you think? We really have to share with them that it is not for us to endorse one fund versus the other, but to make sure that they are very clear in what they're reading and understanding what they're reading.
Good. Anybody else want to talk on that one? While you're looking through the standards and ethics, which ones apply? I have a couple standards and one ethics that I kind of earmarked. We had a lot of fun kind of coming up with these ideas in the presentation classes. I ran with a few of them that we came up with. Oh, I have 19. What's 19? This is when I need 2 screens. 17. Boundaries of competence. Counselors must practice only within the boundaries of their competence. So if they don't have a license, they shouldn't be giving advice. Herbie.
Yeah, I think the very last sentence on this, the thing to be cautious about is if you provide a particular type of investment and individual goes south or the investment goes south, and you particularly told them they were going to make a lot of money, that could turn in, I perhaps believe in like a legal action, providing certain type of guidance that you're not supposed to.
Right. Specific licensure and state testing for investment advice, right? So I think ethics number 4, recognize my limitations and refer clients when appropriate. There's my other one, Rufino, yay. Credentials claimed. Counselors must claim or imply only professional credentials proposed and must correct any known misrepresentations on their credentials by others. I think that's another one that could apply to this. Definitely an interesting scenario, don't you think? I wondered, so many people were typing at once. Educate them and teach them how to do the research themselves, right? Refer them to a licensed investment advisor, and you can show them how to do that, right? You can talk to them about the different investor types. Look up on the finra.org professional designations page and show them what to look for, and do broker check and all those great things to help them find what they need. Having Having credentials does not make it legal to provide advice, must be registered. There you go. AFCs don't provide insurance, tax, investment, or legal advice. However, there are AFCs who are licensed for those services as well. Correct. I asked this question from the previous scenario. I'm getting my CEUs for the first time as an AFC. Previously, it was experience hours. Don't you have to add more information, not just the code? Oh, good question. Okay, so you enter the code and then you hit return. Then it fills in almost everything except for one box, which says, how am I going to use this in the work I do? And then you have to fill that out. I work with clients. I need this info, something like that. All right, who is my number 3?
Oh, I am.
All right, you ready, Erin?
Yes. Andy, thank you for sending Cindy and Bill to us for credit consolidation. It sounds like they will get a lot from our program.
Thanks, Erin. I was looking for a place that would be able to help them and consolidate their debts. And meeting you last week at the networking event was great timing.
Yes, as soon as they sign their paperwork, I will make sure the referral fee is sent to you. Do you want Zelle, PayPal, or direct deposit?
All right, folks. How's that? We're going to stop that scenario there without answering the question. Any thoughts on this conversation? Have you ever had this happen? Anybody try to give you a referral fee, or have you thought about asking for a referral fee? And which standard? So what do you say if somebody asks you that question? I would love to hear the verbiage somebody uses. Yeah, this one's pretty easy. Standard of practice number 30, referral fees. Counselors must not accept or pay referral fees. And this is what actually started this whole presentation, was the discussion of referral fees in one of our classes. And that's when I went, oh, I love doing ethics. Let's do this.
What about confidentiality too? Because they're like saying that these people went ahead and came to get services. So I feel like that's also an additional violation.
Sure. Which one is it? Which code is it?
I'm sorry, I don't have those up. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm on my phone.
I know that makes it hard. All right. Clients sometimes ask if I get referral fees. I always clarify that I don't. It makes me sad that it is so standard for other, some organizations really do it a lot. And there are a lot. I used to teach CFP ethics with the folks at work too. You can't do referral fees there either. Jen.
Yes, being a realtor, we were talking about the referral fees too, but it seems like we in the real estate area, as long as it is disclosed to everybody, then it is okay. I mean, it's just like, also it should be aligned with the tax code, like certain amount, something like that. But I don't know if they have there's any rules about that, as long as it's disclosed or something, or is it just like no referral fees whatsoever?
It is no referral fees for AFCPE. Yep. But that is a good point. Like, some organizations do allow it. Wow. I'm reading. There's a budgeting software that provides a month free for referrals. It's not a fee, but it's a benefit. That is a good question. I am going to check out. I didn't want to, make my screen look terrible for y'all while I go read this other one. Yeah, well, I know that there are discount codes. That's different. And so that might actually fall under that category in some ways. All right, standard of practice 29, somebody mentioned that. accepting fees from agency clients. Counselors must not accept fees or other remuneration for consultation with persons entitled to such services through the counselor's employee agency or institution. That one, I like, so many of you know, I've worked with the military for a long time. So for the military, you cannot charge somebody who could get your services for free. So that's an example of that, number 29. That's what I see the most related, if that makes sense. All right, who is, let's see. Number 4 is Kimberly. You ready, Kimberly?
Yes.
Jen, wait, we'll let Jen ask her question first. Oh, did you not get your hand lowered? I got it. Okay. All right, I will share my screen, Kimberly, so you know, you can all see it. Kimberly, it's been 6 months since we worked together. I hope all is going well for you. You did a great job getting your finances in order after you and your partner divorced. Do you have something new to discuss today? What can I help you with?
I wanted to come back to visit with you to let you know how much I appreciate all the work you've done with me over the last 2 years we worked together. Everything was so stressful when I was going through the divorce, as you remember. Since we didn't have any children, I wanted to let you know that I have left you something in my will to show my appreciation.
All right, folks, what would you say? Lots of no's. Some people might say, well, it depends on where you work. Can you accept money from people like that? Kathy.
I would acknowledge with appreciation of their desire to want to do something like that, but I would let them know while it is so very much appreciated, it is so not necessary, and this is where I get my joy from helping people. And at this point, just pay it forward. But I guess I'm like a soft touch. I don't want to just say, well, we can't accept it. I'd like to say, well, as much as I like to appreciate it, unfortunately, I'm not able to accept it, but I do want you to know I do appreciate the effort. Something like that.
All right. Anybody have a standard of practice or an ethical guideline that you think relates to it? Carolina?
Well, I'm not gonna answer your question. I
Okay,
just have
keep going.
another question. It's about like, what if the client just does it, and you're not aware of that, and you end receiving, that money is on your name. Like, basically, you were crossing, that line there, but not with an intention, or you shouldn't receive that then.
I personally, I think I wouldn't. I would maybe look to charities. I would see if there were any other family members alive that might benefit from that. Talk to somebody from the estate's gonna be talking to you, so you could handle that by declining it that way. Good question, though. Wouldn't that be fun? Somebody actually left you money. Okay, somebody put SP24. Yeah, Rufino, I've had that happen too, where somebody paid your bill at a restaurant without knowing. And I know the military has a $25, something like that, gift rule. So sometimes that falls under that line. Go ahead, Rufino.
Yes, I was filling up my vehicle at a gas station one time, and an old woman approached me. She tendered like a $20 for my gas money, but I told her That's not possible because as an active military person, we have like rules or code of ethics, and I cannot accept that. So I hopped in my vehicle, I drove away, but my windows were down, and the woman tossed the $20 bill inside my vehicle. So how would you manage that?
I don't know. I might share the wealth with somebody else. All right. So I had somebody put 24, and that's unjustified gains. Counselors must not use their professional positions to seek or receive unjustified gains, personal gains, all that good stuff, unearned goods or services. That's a good one. I also put dual relationships. That's number 3, right? Dual relationships. Counselors must make every effort to avoid dual relationships with clients that could impair their professional judgment. You know, so I think that could be part of that too. So I don't know if y'all have any other suggestions on that one.
Andy, could you just clarify about that $25 rule? I know nothing of the such. I don't know anything about that.
Well, every military person should know what their rule is for how much they can be, like, you can't, like, I know at my military base here, I gave a bottle of wine to somebody who helped me with something, so I made sure it was under the $25. You know, so I think that it, you know, I don't know what the rules are for every branch and every location, but yeah, so civil, federal employees have the same kind of thing.
Hey, Andy, can you hear me?
Yeah, Steve.
What would happen if she didn't disclose it to you and she passed away and then you received the funds?
Yeah, that was a question somebody asked. And what I think, you know, you talk to whoever's in charge of the estate and you let them know this is not something that I could accept, but I could help direct it to a charity, or, you know, is there somebody else in the family that could receive it? You know, kind of work with the estate to see what you can do with that.
Okay, thank you.
I know. I mean, we all wish this would happen, right? A couple $1 million come your way. All right. Number 5, Cleve. You ready, Cleve? Everybody's going to enjoy this one.
Excuse me. Yes, ma'am. Ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay, cool. Andy, I appreciate your time today and how open you were about your finances. I would like to set up a follow-up appointment at the end of this session. If you could look at your calendar, we can come up with a time in about 2 weeks where we can follow up on the homework I am going to send you.
Wow, I really enjoyed the session today. I feel like we click. I really loved working with you, and you're so smart and so funny.
Thanks, Sandy. Working with clients is a passion I have. I think it is so important to help people align values to their finances. How would February 19th be? Do you have availability in the morning?
Can we set a date a little sooner? I'd love to get to know you better. How about we meet at the steakhouse for dinner on the 14th? So, anybody have any idea how you would respond to somebody who might be interested in you outside of the session?
You made me blush.
I know, right? Thanks, Cleve. How would you respond to this? The 14th, right? I got a reservation. Come on, Cleve. Let's go. He doesn't live far from me. We can go out. All right. Which of the standards of practice or ethics? Number 3, dual relationships. What else could it be if you said yeah and you met them at a restaurant? It could go farther, right? 4. Yeah. Yeah, so we want to make sure we're really careful. I've known financial counselors. I have one in particular who is no longer in AFC. They decided not to continue with it. But I heard all the time, oh yeah, I'm friends with this person and this person and this person. And oh yeah, I worked with them. And there are guidelines that we need to follow, and we need to be really careful. And some of us actually work with people that are friends. So we have to be really careful about how we handle that too. Like, you were friends first, then you're helping them. Or relatives. None of my relatives listen. I mean, I shouldn't say none. Some of them do. But it could be a little bit scary. All right.
Andy, Rebecca made a comment in the chat.
Oh, good.
Did you see that? The counselor didn't do anything wrong, but man,
It could be, but that's the scenario. I mean, that scenario brings to light as a number 3 and number 4, right? But they didn't do
right,
anything wrong. You're right.
right. But
I didn't put Cleve in a bad place.
Yeah, let me continue what she said. But
Okay,
man,
go.
put your foot down and say, keep it professional or get referred.
Yep. Right. If
So,
it make you feel uncomfortable, then that is definitely a referral to somebody else, right?
right.
Or wait the 2 years. There you go. Somebody said, or wait the 2 years. All right. Nikki, just in time. You ready? I'm sorry to hear about the car accident. As you mentioned earlier, it was good that you had good vehicle insurance and it covered a lot of the costs. Do either you or your son have any physical issues?
Everyone,
Sorry, Courtney.
everyone is okay. I'm just glad that we had a chance to switch seats really quick before anyone noticed. If my son was caught driving, I don't think my insurance would have covered anything.
Oh, so what you're telling me is nobody was injured. It wasn't you driving, but you told the police and the insurance company that it was you driving? So what ethics standards go along with this scenario, and how would you respond to this client? I'm just going to add in there, what next steps would you take? So do you got 3 questions to answer? I got to make the chat longer because there's a lot of chatting going on. I love it. Potentially violating criminal laws of any state. Yeah, yeah. Mandatory reporting must be reported. Insurance fraud. Ooh, you know somebody who did this recently. Yeah, we have a lot of discussions in my classes about mandatory reporting and duty to warn. And this is one of those situations that rides on that line, right? You give people an opportunity to make the correction first, maybe?
Yeah. Andy, I'm wondering about confidentiality too, as it relates to that.
Yeah, so in a mandatory reporting situation, like if we're doing intake with somebody, we should let them know that there are certain things that require us to report something. And so if you've done that when you've worked with somebody and they've done something illegal, then, you say, hey, I think we need to update the police and the insurance company, and we're going to have to deal with the consequences of that. And I will be there with you, if that's something you want to do. You give the person the opportunity to do it first.
And if you haven't discussed that particular scenario, then what?
So then you could bring up, I have this ethical guideline that requires me to report a law. And, I haven't mentioned it to you yet, but I need to let you know that this is required by me. All right. So I have somebody put SP9, confidentiality requirement. I have ethics, the 8th one down on the list. I know they're not numbered. That made it hard for me. Avoid any act or omission which violates the relevant criminal laws of any state of the United States or province, territory, etc. I put 6, which is under ethics, respect the privacy of clients and the confidentiality of the relationship. Informed consent of the client, right? Because that's what we're doing. We're giving them informed consent to let them know what we can and can't do, what our boundaries are as an AFC. And I put number 3, exhibit personal and professional honesty and integrity when advising and counseling clients. Yeah, pretty much every helping field has a duty to warn or the confidentiality clauses. Do we need to worry about our personal safety in this day and age? That is a good question. It depends on how stressed out somebody gets, right? And you're going to need to know your clients. Since it was disclosed to you, wouldn't you be required to report whether or not they said, well, if I would give somebody the opportunity to do it and I would want to see that they do it. But yeah, and if they refuse to do it, then I would probably take care of that myself.
That was my comment, like to help them navigate it, like us do it together and then call together, because they may not know that there's a workaround anyways, because typically the insurance covers the vehicle. Even if you aren't present in it, but just a way to educate and be there with them at the same time. And then it's all about like how you approach it and not be combative with them.